Welcome back, and thank you again for spending a few minutes reflecting on your own experience, particularly as a consumer, so you can start to process those individual moments that you've experienced yourself. Now I want to turn our attention to you as a designer of experiences. Like we said in that first video, there's a whole wide-ranging number of experiences that you may be tasked to create in your day-to-day life. And moments don't just help us think about experiences for dinner or for Disney. They're a way to process every type of experience that you may need to craft as a professional, whether it's the onboarding experience, new hire experience, whether it's a leadership development experience, a retreat experience, who knows what it may be, but thinking in terms of moments, you've got the ability to unpack that experience and to process it through small touch points where you then can target your effort and target your actions. So let's turn back to that restaurant example that we talked about earlier and see how we might pivot it to something more focused on the workplace. So restaurants are great. Going out to have a dinner experience is great. What about something in the professional environment like an onboarding experience? We can apply the exact same principles of thinking in moments just like we did to the dinner experience. So perhaps you're a new hire and your first moment in your experience is receiving a care package or a new hire box, and you open it up and there's all kinds of new swag. There's some welcome notes from members of your team. You're having a great welcoming to the organization. You get in for your first day and your new manager's running 15 minutes late from a meeting that they're stuck in. And so you just wait patiently in the lobby. It's okay. You understand that sometimes people's schedules run over. When you get there, the team has set up a time for you to meet and greet with the peers that you're going to work with. They've got coffee, breakfast. You get a chance to meet folks and start to build your network. And immediately, once coffee's over, they've already got some work for you to get started in. So there's none of the awkward sitting at your desk unpacking. They want you to join a team, and that team welcomes you in and gets you started into some meaningful projects. But the person who's supposed to take you to lunch never shows up. So you wander around, you find your way to the cafeteria, and you've got nobody to sit with, and you just feel a bit lost and a bit let down. Just like the dining experience, you might go home and say to a friend, a family member, a partner, I didn't have a great first day at work. But realistically, when we look at all of these moments or these touch points, most of them were pretty good. So for us as professionals, as designers of experiences, we might say, let's just fix that taking them out to lunch moment. Let's put some new process in place. Let's create some new resources. That might be a way to really target your efforts. And as you go forward, then how do you apply this to your work? There's really two ways that I want to cover very quickly. You might think and use moments for diagnosis or for the analysis of an existing experience, or you could use moments themselves to help you design a new experience from scratch. So, an example of the former, if you're thinking first of just moments for analysis or for diagnosis, with clients we've worked with in the past, we've taken their overall employee experience, we've broken it down into individual moments. And we've surveyed associates to let them give us feedback on how these moments are showing up. And it allowed us, from a prioritization standpoint, to think about which moments have the most impact potential or the most shift potential, meaning they're really important moments, but they're not going so well right now. We also could ask them through survey, through interviews, through observations, which moments are peak and therefore really, really good that we can either invest more into or just leave alone for now. And so that allowed us to have some key findings. So that's one way that you might use moments for diagnosis, using surveys, interviews, and this framework to help break down an existing experience. Well, what about a new experience? So again, let's go to that other half, moments for design of a new experience. Well, leadership development could be a great example here because we can take two totally different experiences and we can compare them through something I like to call a tale of two leaders. So on the left-hand side, we're going to have a traditional leadership journey. On the right-hand side, we're going to have a journey that's been crafted with moments in mind. So on the left, if you're thinking about leadership development, you might think, let's pull people together for a day or two or a week, and let's cover some key leadership topics like crucial conversations or strategic thinking. When we start to look through the lens of moments, we say, hey, for leadership development, we should do it in the moments where leaders are being leaders. That's where they need our support. That might be leading meetings, sending out communications, networking with their peers inside the organization. With those things in mind, you could see how that would lead us to create two totally different experiences. The left side leader might get a journey that's very agenda driven, and it might be a really, really great experience, but it feels very separate from their work. On the right-hand side, if we craft a journey or an experience with moments in mind, we can wrap the same types of content, the same types of learning, but around key moments in their role as a leader. So it's hard to view this, and you won't get it in this quick overview. But all these different courses, these modules, these instructor-led trainings are all leading up to the moment when I have to start introducing myself at a new company, or I have to start networking. So we focused very much on the moment where the leader is going to show up, and how do we wrap them with the supports needed to be successful there. You might imagine, if you've lived out either of these scenarios, the left-hand side, maybe you get some great survey data, some great smile sheet results, but a week after the event, you're probably not going to see a lot of behavior change. Whereas on the right-hand side, scaffolding these experiences, scaffolding content, it allows people to gain new knowledge and immediately to apply it in work. So thinking in moments helps you get closer to what we sometimes call the moment of need here in the work that it is we do. So thanks for just looking through those examples. I think it's now time to let you have a chance and reflect on your own situation. But one last thing I'll say about moments before we send you to an activity is to think they help us be less driven by the content, less driven by a set of topics, and more driven by the environment or the situation that your user is living in day to day. So with this being our last video, I'm about to give your activity instructions. But before I do, just thank you for the energy and the courage that you brought into doing this professional development in your inbox, and for the time you've spent here. Hopefully this introduction to moments is giving you a foundation that you can work from. And I'd be remiss to not say, if you ever want to go further, we here at the Performance Institute would love to help. We've got this newsletter, we've got a variety of workshops, our YouTube channel. Please reach out if you want to go deeper with any of the topics you see any given month. With that said, now it's your turn. Let me give you some time to think about a project or initiative that you're either working on, you're about to work on. Let's let you process this through your own work. So, what are the key moments or touch points that exist? Which of them are in need of redesign? And if you have a knowledge gap, how could you fill it? Like, if you don't know what the moments are in an experience, or if you're not sure how the moments are being experienced, how could you fill those gaps in your understanding? What version of surveys, observation, interviews would work in your environment? So one last time, stop the video here, work with either your own reflections or people in the room, and just take a moment, pause, and think about how you can apply this to your own work. Thank you again for the time. We appreciate you spending it with us, and we'll look forward to seeing you next month for your next professional development in your inbox. Until then, take care.